started writing when I was 8. So like around 7, 8. So when I was 16, I dropped my first song. And
Wow.
I feel like even that was still like it wasn't the start. The start was when I joined a contest and we had to perform completely live vocals, like couldn't use no track. And before that, I was just singing with the track. And I was so scared. I really didn't want to do it, but someone paid for me to do it. So I had to. And I killed it. I ended up killing it and like proving myself wrong. And that was like the beginning of it all. Like when it comes to live performing and just kind of really stepping into that, like, I'm an artist, title. Because before it was like, I'm a songwriter, or, you know what I'm saying? I do this. But when I like had that first big performance, it was really like, I'm the artist. Like, I can do this as the artist. So that was pretty long and drawn out, but
No, no,
that
no.
was how I started.
No, I love that. I love that. It's a lot of detail, and it definitely shows me that you enjoy your craft and you put a lot of thought into it already. So I love that. I
Yeah.
want to go back on just your vocals because to me, your tone, obviously, I'm sure you've heard you get Lauryn Hill, from
Right.
you also give me Pam from Total. I don't know if you know that group. That
Yeah, I've heard of Total before, yeah.
you give me that vibe too. Her name's Pam. But just tell me, what drew you to, because I'm assuming you're a fan of Lauryn Hill, but what drew you to Lauryn Hill? And also just name some albums that influence your style and sound now in your music.
Um, Overall, I would say definitely the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and definitely a lot of Mary J. Blige, just her first and second album that had came out, like when she had like all of those back-to-back hits, the feature with Lil Kim,
Yeah.
all that. Like I feel like when she was in that era, like my mom would blast that all the time. So Mary J. Blige, what drew me to Lauryn Hill, of course, was my mom. I feel like she was a huge fan of Lauryn Hill, but like she really loved Mary J. Blige. That's why I keep mentioning. But she would play Lauryn Hill, and I was kind of um I gravitated towards Lauryn Hill kind of vibe because I love that like raspy sound. Like you know what I'm saying? Like and Mary J, she has that raspy sound as well, but Mary like the way Lauren did it was kind of like she still included that hip hoppy vibe. Like, she would rap and all that. And I felt like me be more like on like, a tomboy feel. Like I felt like I could hit that like, rap vibe. I felt like, oh, I could do that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's like my vibe. Like she was just cool, swagged out. Like that's what like, gravitated me towards Lauryn Hill and just hearing that she was kind of like around the same area, like the Jersey area. I'm from Philly. That's like right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was right there. Like she probably like been to a couple like spots that I've been to. That's like inspiration there. But overall, just the simple fact of like the impact that she's had on all of us with just that one album. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? And it's just been that. Like, and still to this day, everyone's, like that's who else has done that, like in the history of music. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that alone is just kind of like that lets you know just the power of the music overall. And so I feel like the power of the music is what really like inspires me. Just the impact that it leaves on people and that it left on me at a very young age. You know what I'm saying? Hearing Lauren, Mary J. Blige, I love India Arie, Jill Scott, because Jilly from Philly, she right there. You know what I'm saying? And just a whole lot of Ericka Badu. Like I can just what I'm saying. Keep going. Angie Stone. I feel like a lot of people, especially in my area, don't really like know about Angie Stone, but I'm like, oh, y'all don't know Angie Stone, and like, like dang, that's crazy. I feel like I lived in a different lifetime or something, but yeah, I could keep going, back and back when it comes to music. I've heard it all, and I feel like it all started with my mom, like just the songs that she played, just her music taste alone. If she didn't have the music taste she did. I don't know if y'all would have a Kenya Vaun today. Like I really don't like that's how, impactful that was in the household.
Nah, I love that. And I love how impactful your mom is on that. Something else you mentioned. I'm from Jersey. I'm from Jersey
Right.
City. So I'm right next to Newark. I just love that, because it's a different vibe over here. You know what I'm saying? It really just is. Like
Right.
the city is just, I feel like that creeps into the music. So did that affect your music? We're gonna get into your new stuff, obviously, and I know you just
Hmm.
released the Honeymoon EP, which I didn't even know was coming out. So I'm glad that announcement came out yesterday. It was perfect timing, so we can hop into that. But
Right.
yeah, just tell me, did Philly influence your sound, you think, and you still draw inspiration from that?
Yes, because there's a lot of like, like you ever hear movies? Like, because don't get me wrong, like I'm still kind of like I'm like that type of like person that's like I don't with certain songs I don't really know the artist name off the top. I'm like I heard that that's so many songs that's been like going on for years and years and years, right? Like in movies and stuff I heard. I recently saw this thread on Instagram and it like listed all of these Philly like back in the day Philly artists, and it was like so many songs that I've heard like throughout the years, and it's like oh my god, like Philly really been on the map for like it was like oldie songs like
Mm,
from like the 70s, like you know what I'm saying, like way back, and I'm like that was all Philly. Like I'm kind of disappointed I can't even list some names off the top, but like I feel like Philly just overall definitely inspirational because people think what they think about Philly, but at the end of the day, like I just said, so many talented people that you know come out of Philly, like you know what I'm saying, and it all kind of like is on the same kind of line, like that real soulful, authentic type of music, you know what I'm saying, or a real comedy, you know what I'm saying? Because we can say Kevin Hart, Will Smith, or what, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So I feel like Philly is really like one of those cities wherever you are from, you're gonna hear about Philly, like whether it's New York or
mm,
Philly, LA, like you know what I'm saying. So being able to grow up in the center of that, I felt that. That to me is inspirational. Like, you know what I'm saying? All over, I feel like you
mm.
never going, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think two of like my favorite artists, at least like the top 10, is Musiq, Soulchild, and Jill Scott. And that's straight Philly. Like you said, that sound, that soul really can't be matched. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely think you have that in your music and you're really starting to push that out more, especially in this climate, in this atmosphere of new R&B, you know. So
Right.
let's just talk about your journey of getting signed to 300 and entertainment. Just tell me a little bit. I know you put out a few songs and that got the attention, but just tell me a brief like summary of how you got to this point. And then we're gonna talk about the singles that you released, and then we'll hop into the EP.
Well, like as we know, I've been doing like music for like since I was 8. Basically, I would say 7, 8. So all the way we fast forward, I was like living in Atlanta at the time. And I was working at a good job actually. And I was just kind of hitting studios here and there, kind of recording my own songs. I'm just kind of like going to work type of thing. But before then, like before I moved to Atlanta, like I was of course living in Philly. And I was hitting a lot of open mics. Like I would hit a lot of open mics underground, and my mom just loved that so much. She loved that. I just kind of like kind of just dug into the music and just threw myself at it. And when I kind of moved to Atlanta, that kind of slowed down when I was working and everything like that. So she was like, "You should go to college. You should go to college." Like, da-da-da. I'm like, "No, like this is the music hub. I just got down here. This is Atlanta. Like, people out here. Like, I'm cool. Like, you know what I'm saying?" And she just wasn't going for it. She wasn't like all over me, but like every once in and then she was just like bring it up again, like, "Oh, college." I'm just like, no, no. And I just remember the one time she had brought it up, and then she was like, "Yeah, it's a like she started going a little bit into it. And this time I'm like, okay, that's kind of sound like something I could do. And she's like, "It's a music program, this, that, and the third. I think you would love it. It's in New York." You know what I'm saying? I feel like that would be a good experience. And I was like scared but excited because I'm like, I don't know nobody that living out in New York. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't at all. Like, and I'm just gonna go out there alone, like just living it. Like, that's crazy. Like, you know? So I ended up just, facing my fears, like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it. And she like came back, was like, they gave you an $80,000 scholarship. Da, da, da. I'm like, what? Like, what did this happen? The whole time she was already kind of like submitting applications on my behalf before I even had said yes. I'm like, all right, this is a setup. But it worked out in my favor because I ended up going to New York, Brooklyn, and going to school in this music program at LIU. It was a Rock Nation music program, and I met like amazing people, just a bunch of just creative, kids around my age, and a little younger, a little older, just all a bunch of people that's just like producers, engineers, singers, songwriters, and we were all like kind of bunched up in this music group together. Like it was the first year that they did this music group. So it was just kind of like, all like kind of like they were trying to get it together still. But overall, like the experience was just really fun. I met a really dope director, I should say clothing designer now. His name is Love Kelly, and he went to my school as well. And he's the one who shot About Me,
Mm.
and I was just kind of we were going back and forth. We had a break, so it was dragged out. I'm like, yo, I want to drop this music video. Like we have to. Like this is going to be epic. And so, we ended up dropping the music video, and just it's just a crazy story even leading up to how I even met Kelly. Like I was one of my like the people I met prior, I was like sent them my song, like, hey, listen, because I'm like, Evan, like if I'm here, I'm a network, I'm gonna talk to people. So everywhere I went, I'm like, hey, what do you do? Like, oh, I sing, like I'm sending my stuff. So someone was walking, playing my stuff, and Love Kelly actually stopped the person, like, who is that? And he like, oh, she goes to LA, she just dormed in. So he DM'd me. So it just so happened he went to the same school. I'm like, oh, let's link up on campus.
Yeah.
So that's even a crazy story in itself. So he like, I want to shoot your video, like, I just want to work, like, and I was just like, this is amazing. This is everything I ever wanted to just kind of like go somewhere and just kind of just collab, like go here, and just offer the free, like, you know what I'm saying? Just you don't have to stress. It's just all of us just grinding, trying to like make something out of something. You know what I'm saying? So shot the video, fast forward, dropped it, and we had like a little release party in dorms. And after that, honestly, it was a lot of people hitting up both of us, Love Kelly and I, like just like people he knew via like, shooting videos and how many people he's met over the years. And just the people I knew, I was getting a lot of emails. And I got this one email by this guy named Jeff Finster. Shout out Jeff Finster from 300 Entertainment. And he was like, hey, I'm from 300 Entertainment. I want to get in contact and, like, start this thing up. Love that what we're hearing, love the song you just dropped. And I was getting like, prior to that, I got a lot of emails like that. They was all like, spam, like scams. Like, people be like fake trying to sign you via email. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like telling Kelly, like, I heard this. He like, wait, like, do you know what 300 Entertainment is? Like, this is crazy. So like fast forward, we just got in contact with him and like we started like going to the office. It was like not that far from college. And we just like loved the vibe. I just fell in love with the vibe. You know what I'm saying? It just felt like a family based, just overall feel 300 Entertainment and talking to the people and it just felt so authentic. You know what I'm saying? It was a couple meetings we went to before I just eventually decided to sign. But each one, it just felt like, home there. So I just felt like really grateful that they like, based off of that video drop, that Kelly was able to help me during that time, and also just the people in my college, just that whole experience, all my friends there, because I feel like that's what really started it. Because before, like I said, I was kind of like taking a little break.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful that my mom gave me that push. I went, met all those amazing people, got to work with, Kelly. And that's what really started after I dropped About Me. And, people was really playing that in my college back to back around the Brooklyn area. So I guess it got the, attention of 300. So yeah.
That that sounds like a whole movie, low key. You might have
It
to do.
just be the way I be saying it. I mean, I'll be dragging it out. I'll be
No, no,
dragging.
no, no, no. But no, it's definitely that's how you know it's meant to be, though. You know what I mean? Just the way you explained it, the things that happen, that's God's timing. That's just people want to say the universe.
Right,
People want to say it's, that's what it was meant to be. So I love that. I
right.
think that's incredible. And let's just hop into some of your singles now. Summertime is one of the joints that like I loved. I fell in love with that. So let's talk about making that song. What inspired it? A little bit about that.
Well, summer, of course, I got the amazing opportunity to work with Carvin Haggins. He worked a lot with Musiq Soulchild. You know what I'm saying? Lauryn Hill. He's a great known, songwriter, and we kind of collabed on that because with this kind of song, I wanted to kind of do like a throwback because like I feel like before I kind of like fled out the gate, kind of came with my vibe, which I feel like I'm trying to create my own lane, like just bring something like new, like refreshing to back to the game. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
before I wanted to do that, I want to kind of just give like my appreciation, show my appreciation by creating a song that kind of like showcases the music that I grew up listening to from the Pendergrass, TKO sample that's in the song, or the little like cadence that I used from a mods back in the day. Um, you know what I'm saying? Classic songs, like, you know what I'm saying? So working with Carvin, he kind of gave me that like, you know what I'm saying, old school vibe. And I like got to also just kind of do my own thing with it and just to mesh it. And from starting from there, like it was a great vibe because I actually met him when I was younger, Carvin, like when I was like 15, 16. Got to see his studio and everything.
Wow.
And my mom actually knew who he was. Oh my God, he worked with Musiq. And she was like, watch, one day you're going to work with him. And
Mm.
I'm like, just crazy how the world works, right? So, like, spin around, got signed, everything, meet him in the studio. And we both like, oh, we met each other before. And so it was already the vibes there, you know what I'm saying? And so we just kind of picked up where we left off, like just kind of started telling where I like everything, my experience and just the vibe I've been on and you know we just kind of started the song from there. And yeah, that's how it was pretty much created. I told him what I wanted, and we kind of just went for it from there. I wanted to touch on the old school vibes, but also still want to put my twist on it. And moving forward with this new EP, I feel like I wanted to showcase that a lot as well. Like meshing that soulful, reminiscence like sound of the 90s and things that people can feel that nostalgic, like, oh, I remember this sound, but still with that modern twist of like, oh, this is new, this is refreshing. You know what I'm saying? Just to say. So that was the start of that with summer. And I like I say, I feel like I get to showcase that more with this new EP dropping, Friday, Thursday night, 12 a.m. Make sure y'all check that out, the Honeymoon Phase. So yeah.
Gotta plug that. Gotta plug that. We're gonna listen. I'm excited. I do
Yeah.
gotta apologize though, because I said summertime. I'm gonna keep it real with you. As soon as this interview is about to start, tell me my whole list of notes gotta erase. So I'm going off the top of my head.
Dang.
Yeah, no,
That's crazy. That's
it's crazy.
crazy. No, it's flowing though. I would never know that if you
Nah,
would never said that. It's flowing. It's definitely flowing.
nah,
You
nah.
definitely know what you're doing. No.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But I would hate if someone said that, but
Yeah.
my phone got the wrong title. So I had to correct myself. So
Now, people call it summertime, but at the end of the day, if that's how it make you feel like you're having a good summertime,
no, I
hey,
do.
by all means, you
It,
know,
yeah,
summer.
it do feel like that. It do feel like that. But you actually answered another one of my questions I was gonna ask about the EP. So we'll go back into that because I was gonna ask, what's it sounding like. Um, and to go back on the producer that the of Summer, my boss is actually a huge fan of it's Carvin, right? I say
Car,
Craig, it's Carvin. I don't know. I said,
yeah,
but yeah, he's a huge fan of him. So that's cool to hear that. And that definitely
that's
explains the vibe of that song is just it's pretty intoxicating. Because it does feel old, but it new at the same time. It has that vibe, like the nostalgic vibe.
right.
So I love to hear that. Another song though, used to. I know I got that title right. So just
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that song.
I actually wrote that song when I was like 16, 17, like around that time. People be like, what? What was you talking about? What was you going through?
Mm.
When you were 16? No, but yeah, I wrote that when I was pretty young. When I don't know, like I just remember working with a producer named Rick Kurtz out of New York. And this is way before, because again, I'm like 16. I even went to college. So I was still kind of visiting the Brooklyn, Dumbo area, like, you know what I'm saying? Even before I went to college, you know what I'm saying? But I would just kind of link up with, this producer, Rick. And when I heard that beat, that used to be, it just kind of gave me like this nostalgic feeling of like I don't know, like because I'm young, like so I don't even want to make it seem like I was really from back in that time. But like when I tell you, it be feeling like that sometimes. But it just gave me this like classic, like yo, I can hear this like me on some like Lauryn Hill type time, like rap singing, like you know what I'm saying? Like me coming out rapping and then I'm hitting a little. I just heard it. I just had a vision, and at that time, I was kind of like I was kind of like, in my young head, going through a little situation with someone. So that inspired it, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that inspired it and like I kind of like that was the first song I really wanted to kind of like in my head, do that rap with the singing as well. Cause a lot of my other songs like I wrote around that time, like Overrated is a single I wrote around that same time when I was 16, 17,
Mm.
around that time. But I'm like, flat singing on, Overrated. I have a lot of songs I'm just singing. So we're used to hearing that sample. It gave me that hip hoppy feel. And I felt like that would be the perfect song to kind of like showcase that. I can spit a little bit, like, give that vibe, that I'm spitting a little bit. So overall, that's really what I was thinking when creating, that song at that age. Yeah.
That's cool. I wasn't expecting it to be from when you were 16. So that's awesome. Like years later, I assume. I don't know how many years exactly, but enough years later to bring that out and bring it back and for it to still touch, people and touch hearts. Like that's cool. It's very, I
Right.
feel like it's rare that that happens. Because most of the time when you're doing something at that age, you're really not going through a lot. But
Right.
so when it comes from,
But like I said, that's that influence of Lauren and all them. Cause like I would really like listen to the storyline. I feel like a lot of like that's what's missing that like I'm really trying to be one of those. 'Cause I'm not the only one. There's a lot of amazing artists out here, but I'm trying to be another artist out here bringing that story back. I feel like back in the day when I was young, hearing those type of artists, they all had like a story, like a moral to the story, something that left you with and left you thinking, whether that was like Ericka Badu, you know what I'm saying? It
yeah.
was just like, dang, like that was deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was still groovy at the same time. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like again, like that's the type of song that I'm listening to. So when it came time for me to create that song, I just feel like influence. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's where the influence came from. If I was listening to who knows, like, any other type of artist that's not on that, caliber, who knows how the song would have came out. But being, blessed with having that type of influence and that music taste and really falling in love with it and feeling like really passionate about it at a young age and knowing like this is it. Like and it hasn't changed since and not like, oh no, maybe I want to do this. Like no, I always knew like music was it. So I feel like having that influence definitely just drives a lot of my songwriting. I think back like what would Lauren say? No, I'm just saying. I'm just
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. So, well, that's exactly why I'm excited for the EP, and I want to hop into that because I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm sure we could talk about a lot because I love how drawn out and thought out your answers are, you know. But
right.
let's hop into the EP. Why are you calling it Honeymoon Phase? Why is it that? And then I have two more questions for you, and I'm gonna let you get out of here.
Call it just short and simple. I called it the honeymoon phase because I really wanted to touch bases on just when people think of the honeymoon phase, you think of like, oh, like, you know, just roses and sunshine. This is like, you know, but I really wanted to showcase that. Like sometimes that's not really what it be. Like, you know what I'm saying? The honeymoon phase is like a whole roller coaster of the feelings, whether that's like very like starting off like being scared to talk to the person, like and then start having a crush and then going through that talking phase. Like that's a whole phase, and then kind of pulling back because you're scared, and then kind of, oh, I can like that's a whole roller coaster you be going on. It's not just roses and sunshine when it starts off, you know, getting to know someone. So I feel like in the honeymoon phase, I labeled that for a reason. But when, you know, when listening to it, I feel like I kind of take you on a roller coaster, like a storyline of love, like, you know, the different phases of love, like, you know, loving yourself, loving, you know, starting there, and you know what I'm saying, and then loving someone else, and then the unhealthy version of loving people and how that made me feel like just the whole entire phase of love overall. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Tell me, how long were you making this EP? Was it years in the making? Are there songs like you said, like from being 16 that are making it into this project, or is this all recent stuff coming out right now?
Um, I would say half and half. I would say a lot of like the songs are new for the most part, just like the new experience that I experienced, like traveling places and kind of being inspired and kind of writing, and also like picking up some of the storylines that I've had, you know, already prior, and kind of just making it more than what it was. So I feel like overall it's been like a long time coming overall for this EP.
Yeah, cool. And then just my last question for the EP, and then I got one more for you. EP wise, again, like I said, you kind of touched on this already, but were there any like albums or artists that you were listening to when making this that influenced the sound? Like you said, it's gonna sound very, throwbacky, 90s-y, but were there specific references that you were drawing, or were you just trying to be you? I always ask every artist that because I love them to hear what they say.
Well, before we go in, because I don't want people to have like expectations just for a 95. I wanted to like it's definitely 90s vibe on here.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But like I was saying kind of prior, like overall, the vibe I wanted people to feel when they listen to the EP is that I could touch a basis on that. Like these are some of the vibes that influence me. You know what I'm saying? And also like this is my twist. This is how I'm coming. This is my new era, like my experimental, like, you know? So it's like a mesh. Like each and every song, it's like a different vibe.
Mhm.
Like you ever listen to, and this is any artist from your pick, but you ever listen to an artist and sometimes it sounds like, or you listen to one song, you listen to the next and the next, but it sounds like one long song, and it's like, this is the same flow. This is the same. It's not like that. I feel like each song you may get soulful. Then this one you may get a poppy feel. Then this one you may get like a new modern R&B. Then this, like, you know what I'm saying? It's all meshed into one. So I feel like you'll really go on a roller coaster. Like I said, like it's gonna be epic. It's gonna be epic. And I feel like I can say this now because if you go on my website, kenyavaughan.com, you have an option to kind of put together a puzzle piece and see a early like, you know, my song list of the EP. And since you can see that, I might as well say, since we were speaking of artists that I've been influenced by, this overall, I love Musiq Soulchild, and I just definitely got the opportunity for him to feature on Summer on the EP. So I just wanted to say that y'all can go check that out just to bring a little bit more excitement. They've been playing it a little bit already on the radio, but I definitely that's just something that I remember being a little girl and like listen. My mom had this iPod and she had all the old school like Destiny Childs and Musiq Soulchild. I would literally listen to teach me and go to sleep like every night. Like that was like a routine. I would listen to Destiny Childs, like all the Mary J Blige, and then I'll end off with Musiq Soulchild, and that would be the song I would go to sleep with. So just having him feature on Summer, that's like the real excitement behind it, just being able to say that and feel blessed. Like, wow, like that's music. That's music on the song, you know what I'm saying? On the EP, on the project, man. And I got one more, surprise feature, but I'm gonna let y'all really dive in and find that out. But I really appreciate you for talking to me, man, today. Really appreciate you for having me.
Nah, for sure. Look, I gotta say, first of all, congrats on that, because that's crazy. I just told you that Music's up there for me. I've had the honor of meeting him, doing an interview with him as well. Um,
Oh wow, that's amazing.
yeah, he's mad cool, awesome guy. So I can't imagine how that feels for you. Um, yeah,
I
no,
didn't meet him yet, but like
no, I just mean
it's
working
probably be
alone is
yeah, it'll probably be epic. Yeah, one of these days.
like a feature on that is crazy. So congrats on that. That's a big milestone for you. And I'm glad,
Yes.
like I said, I'm glad we got to talk because I already feel like you're gonna be big, and I feel like I'm at the beginning. So that's awesome. Got
I appreciate that.
two more things I'm gonna mention real quick. I will be there
Okay.
Thursday, so at the party. So
Okay.
hopefully,
Cool, man. Yeah, definitely.
hopefully,
Definitely. I want to see. That's perfect because I really, speaking of that, I want to afterwards see if you see what I was saying with the mesh. I'm come up to you
I,
specifically, like, let me know.
no, I'm gonna
So
be there. And the last thing I want to mention because I forgot to mention this. Um, we don't have anybody up in LA, but I would have loved to be at the Basement Series in LA to see it perform. So just tell me about that experience real quick, performing there, and do you have any plans to perform this EP anywhere? And then from there, you're good to go.
the basement performance was really like it was a performance for the books, I'll tell you. It was really like the vibes was there, but I feel like this type of crowd, it was more so like they were taking it in, like you know what I'm saying. So I got to be really like a lot of my performances. I like to move around, engage with the crowd. I feel like with this one, I really got to like pour out my feelings. Like, one of them close your eyes and sing. And I feel like a lot of people, really was touched because a lot of people afterwards, like, of course, said, "Oh my God, great job." And definitely since then have a lot of people like, hitting me up, because of that show. And I actually at that show I performed one of the songs that's on the EP called Yesterday.
Okay.
So they got a little sneak peek of one of the songs. And overall, of course, I'm like, in the next few weeks, I'm pretty sure I'll be performing somewhere the EP once it, gets released, So definitely keep an eye out, but I'm definitely going to perform that pretty soon. The whole, like, I got like a couple performances coming up, but it's not like the EP, like, you know what I'm saying, overall, but it'll be soon, like in the next few weeks, once the EP is fully out and people really get to hear it and listen to it. Of course, you'll catch me performing that joint somewhere.
All right, well, I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to meet you Thursday and talk about this project. I can't wait to hear it. And of course, just thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I had a pleasure hearing a lot about yourself and just what's to come next. So thank you, Kenya, for talking to me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Nico, for real, anytime. And I'm gonna see you there Thursday, man. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk.